And we are live. All right.
All right.
Good evening, everybody, or good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to In the YugioH podcast, hosted by me, Jello, the casual card gamer, JC Theater YGO. GoldenNova is with us in spirit, and we have a special guest today, Alec from Team APS. It's a dream that he's on here. It's and I my head is exploding. I can't think of any other ways to say this, but it's a dream come true.
What's up, guys? Happy to be here. And I'll get to my opportunities, so I'm taking this one.
All right. So before we get into the actual timeline of tonight's podcast, how have you guys been doing? I know that a lot of things have been happening, everywhere in the world, but how you guys been holding up?
I was doing well. Got my first vaccination. That hurt. It just stopped hurting like yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, other than being in pain, I've just been keeping busy, just trying to make content, and just staying focused.
Right.
And I guess avoiding conversations with my parents about getting a job, but that's a separate conversation.
Yeah, let's not get into that conversation too much, because I might have to start talking about mine. But what about you, JC? How have you been?
I actually, this past Tuesday, I got my first dose of the vaccine as well, and I know exactly what you mean, the muscle pain. It went away a few days ago, luckily. So I literally know exactly what you mean about that. Other than that, though, I've been pretty okay. Obviously, with the world the way it is, college for me, I've been taking only online classes, and I've been living, on the edge, week to week assignments, week to week, and everything. I found out Friday that starting tomorrow, or I guess starting yesterday, depending how you look at it, is my spring break. So I'm actually living it up right now. Probably nothing will change. I just won't have any assignments due this week, but still. Yeah, exactly. But how about you, Jello?
I've been good. I haven't gotten the vaccine yet because they aren't available to. I don't know what the availability is right now, but they're still sort of going through all the people at risk and essential workers. But I have friends and family who have been getting the vaccines already. But I am a recluse, so I don't really see people much anyway. So yeah, I'm safe in my mother's basement, and the virus can't get me here. But anyway, guys, it's been 3 weeks since the last podcast. We had to take an extra break last week because it was a long weekend, and I didn't want to disturb anybody. But we have quite a few things to go through, but of course we want to get to know our special guest today. You already know who he is. He's a man who needs no introductions, and if you don't know who Alec is, you guys have probably been living under a rock. But
I mean, everyone's heard the "What's up, guys?" Today, it's my thing. Mm-hmm. Or before that, it was squad, but I'm not yelling squad because we have headphones on and everything else, and I got yelled at once for that, so I stopped doing it.
Oh man, but yeah, we're gonna have an interview with Alec to get to know him a little better. Then we're gonna go through some of the recent happenings of the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, whether it be tournament results, which I have not been following, or the reason I named this episode Countdown. We have 5 days till Ghosts from the Past drops, and maybe some thoughts on the Megaton that was also sort of announced. But yeah, let's get straight into it, shall we?
Cool.
Sounds good.
All right. So JC, why don't you take it away with your questions?
Okay. So my questions, I do apologize, Alec. I am very long-winded, so my questions will feel like a mini story before you get to answer them. So
when he says long-winded, he means very well prepared.
Well, tomato, I guess. But okay, so my first question is actually a spin on basically the question what your favorite episode or what your favorite video is on the Team APS channel, which is in the form of a hypothetical. All of the videos on the Team APS YouTube channel suddenly get deleted, but you're able to stop the deletion of one single video, and that will be the only video remaining up on the channel. What do you choose? You could, of course, either go the route of your favorite, the video with the most views to kind of, I don't know, save face or something, or you're really proud of that one because it has the most views, or a video you think represents the channel the most. What's the most important video on the channel, in your opinion?
So it definitely won't be one of our videos that has the most views. This video, I think, should have the most views, but it doesn't. Because between the algorithm, maybe people just hating it. I love this video. It was I put my heart and soul into it, and I don't know, I just love it. It's our If Yu-Gi-Oh was a horror movie.
Oh my god, I love that one.
The horror movie trailer. That was a huge, for as short as it was, that was a huge endeavor. We'd never done something like that because we do scripted content, but we never tried to like fake a movie. It was props. It took us an entire week to film it. We thought it was going to take 4 days. It took the entire week. Jeez. We had people coming into town, leaving town. Oh my gosh! Oh man! And then that was right around Halloween. So we remember running to a costume shop, like mid shoot, trying to find some props because we thought one thing was gonna work and then we didn't. But I don't know. I think Trell came up with that idea. Typically, like Paul and I come up with a lot of ideas, but that time Trell had something special, and I write most of our skits. I don't think I'm necessarily the best at it, but I like doing it. So I attack any like idea they give me. I made that script as fast as I could. I tried to reference as many horror movies as I could. Oh my god, it was so much fun. Paul was using new equipment, trying different shots you can't really do in YugiTube. When you're looking at cards, there's only so many slider shots you can use or zoom ins. And I think that was the last major video Alex was in town for. No, we had the real life video too, which is my second video. Is the Yu-Gi-Oh in real life where we went out to the park and embarrassed ourselves. That would be the other video. If I couldn't choose a horror movie, I'd choose that one. Though maybe I wouldn't because it's embarrassing as heck.
Oh man, but both of those were really good. I enjoyed watching them.
Yeah, and that's like my family puts them on the big TV when I come home when there's family around.
I think.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think the most enlightening thing about this is no matter what size YugiTuber you are, big or small, in the senior subscribers, everyone's family puts their content on the big TV to show everyone else. So that's pretty cool. And also, I'm gonna change the subject a little bit. So Jello, I cut you off there for a sec.
So I was gonna say, at least when your family puts it up on the big TV, you have your brother to sort of like split that
that's true, split the attention and the embarrassment.
Okay, that's definitely it's very interesting you chose those because it is true. Something that popped into my head that you did mention after the fact was that it is so drastically different than what you usually can do in the kind of box that YugiTube typically has around itself a little bit. A little fun fact, actually. I asked a question once on the Team APS Facebook where it was asking you guys if you felt trapped in YugiTubing, and how you guys answered that you kind of think of the idea sometimes and then be like, how can we add a Yu-Gi-Oh spin, as opposed to think of Yu-Gi-Oh and then vice versa. You think of YouTube first, YugiTube second in a way, which was very...
I remember that mindset.
Yeah, so that's that was very important for me early on in my channel too, to kind of not get into that box that a lot of people sometimes fall into.
And I literally
of course. So. Hey, it's all about whatever you have fun doing. But a lot of people, they see other YouTubers and they think, oh well, that seems fun, so I'll just do that too. But it's like you gotta choose what you will have fun doing, and then all of a sudden you'll find your own niche, your own content, your own idea, and next thing you know, you've passed 100,000 subscribers, and you're like, well, where is it gonna end? Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Very. I want to like isolate this clip and like watch it sometimes when I'm feeling down about those darn numbers that we sadly have to be concerned about, despite, of course, like you mentioned, doing what you like first and foremost. But well, those numbers are always
I'm lucky. Paul's the guy who he's like the tank of our party. He's the one that has to deal with he pays attention to the numbers, so the rest of us can focus on the creative or the enjoyment of it all.
Perfect dynamic there.
Right. I think that goes really well with Nova's first question, actually. So you want to do that one first?
Yeah, actually, I will say my mind jumped to that when he was answering my first question. So now this is actually from GoldenNovaYugioh. I'm actually Jello, did you want me to share my screen with his questions on it, or did you want me to just ask them?
Oh, you could just ask them.
Oh, okay. I will say before this, I thought I was going to share my screen with it, so I like stole all of his assets real quick, and I made a little PowerPoint slide for it. But that's okay. I'll post it on Twitter or something. That's okay. But okay. So Golden Nova's first question is: when making a skit for the channel, what does the process normally look like? For instance, do you have a production meeting where everyone throws in ideas, or is someone in charge of formulating and pitching those ideas to the whole team? And also connected to this is, how is a normal day of shooting structured?
Okay. Yeah, that's not bad. All right. So I hate to break it to you. There's not really a process when it comes literally from ideation all the way to like shooting. We don't really have a set standard process. Because typically someone comes up with an idea, and then I'll say, hey, should I write that? But of course, I'm not going to try and write a skit. I guess let me start over. So I don't see skits as a script in my head, or a process, or shots, or anything. I see an episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in my head, and I pretty much have to see it all as a scene in motion. I want to see the punchlines. I want to know where the characters are going and all of that. And then I sit down, and I do write scripts for pretty much all of our skits. All I try to do is write down every little thing I see in that episode of The Fresh Prince onto paper. So if we're in a card shop, I'm saying, okay, it's in a card shop. It's daytime. There's 3 people sitting. The main character enters. They say this. Person says that. And it's all about, that's the way I think about it. I think about it as trying to transcribe an episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And I use that for everything, which is difficult because some things need a process. Like when we did our horror movie trailer, it required a process, and I still didn't do it, which made it very difficult. And then as far as like getting now, once I create the idea, I can make the skit by myself. I can write the script by myself, but it means nothing if we can't get it onto camera. And so Paul is our main camera guy. I'm like our backup. Don't know nearly as much, but I can get by. But Paul and I have to sit with the script, and I have to get him to see what I see, because he usually comes up with the shots. I've gotten better at including the shots in my scripts, but when I don't, it's important we both have to get on the same page, and it can take time. Sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's slow. What I usually like to do is find inspiration videos. I like to watch a lot of SNL, College Humor, that sort of thing. And if I can say, hey, the shot is in this SNL video, sends link, and it'll help us get on the page as fast as possible. And then when it comes to shooting, we kind of just find when people are available. We sometimes send them a script ahead of time. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes it's like, hey, you free? Come to the card shop. And so that leads to a lot of times people wing the lines. So, you know, they won't read them exactly as I write them, which is fine because I'm not that great at writing, like writing for other people anyway. But we had a lot of success and had a lot of fun doing that. But yeah, I guess if there is a process, that is the process. What was the second part of the question?
The second part of the question was, how is a normal day of shooting structured?
Okay. So, we actually are not a very productive group at all. So, we don't necessarily record every single day. What we try to do is record a month or a half of a month's worth of content in a weekend. Because our guys are kind of spread out. We're relatively close by to one another, but we're spread out, and a lot of guys work, so we have to like coordinate. So we try to line up one weekend where it's like, all right, you're coming over for the weekend. You're not allowed to leave. When we wake up, we'll make the plan for the videos. Paul's good at that. He'll usually come up with 4, 5, 6 videos, and then we'll just take them one video at a time. Just set up the cameras, record. Then, if we're lucky, we use the same set as many times as we can. If we can't, then we set up the lights, set up the cameras again at a different spot with different people. We just change up who's in which videos. And we really try to get as much we can in that one weekend, because if we were like making a video every day or every other day, we'd end up falling behind, and we have many times. That's why we started doing the whole weekend thing. It's a nice feeling having, once that weekend is over and we're all dead and tired because golly, sometimes we don't sleep. And we've had many videos actually recorded on those weekends where we recorded them at like 12 midnight. So I have to sleep, and I like to go to sleep early. Once the sun sets, my energy goes. We had a video where I was a game show host, and I was trying to run this game with the guys, and Paul was like, "Yeah, we couldn't. I just deleted it." I was like, "Why? You looked like a zombie." I was like, "Oh, I guess I kind of was tired." It's like, "Oh, you were very tired."
Man.
But I guess yeah. So that's a typical recording weekend where we try to knock out 4 to 5 videos, space them out accordingly, and and we do try to do like mixes of duels, commentary, skits. Skits take the most time, so we usually can't get 2 skits done in a weekend. But if we can get 1 plus a few duels and things, that's great.
I definitely agree that it's nice that since you guys do have different styles of videos you make, it's good that like one takes more time, one takes a little less time, and you're able to like multi-manage and get those done. I think that's very I don't know if it was purposeful that you guys did do like those different genres of this already niche genre of Yugi tubing and stuff and doing that, but
it was very purposeful. We get bored the same way our audience does. We did, because at one point we used to do the same types of videos over and over again, and we quickly realized, oh, we hate ourselves. And so we just started to look for anything that's interesting, and we'll just turn on a camera and we'll talk about it, or we'll do it, or we'll buy it, and we'll just try it.
That's cool. Like, that's one thing that I was sort of thinking of in my head as you were answering, because your channel doesn't feel like just a channel. It feels more of like a network in that sort of sense. You know how like Fox is a channel, but it's also a network that you have like so many different things going on at the same time. So I think that's really cool, and it keeps me entertained and engaged a lot. And yeah, it works because you guys are 330 something thousand subscribers strong now. So I think if it's not a million, I'm not looking. waiting for that play button.
Pretty much. I didn't get a silver, but I'm gonna get the next one.
All right. So the way these questions work a lot of the time is JC's are very analytical, GoldenNova's are very articulate, and then mine are sort of like the comic relief, just the very lighthearted questions because I can't think. But my question.
Those are some of the questions I'd ask.
So my first question is, since you've touched both Yu-Gi-Oh and Vanguard, I've watched I recently rewatched that one video that you did a couple of years ago. What Yu-Gi-Oh could learn from Vanguard. It was about the archetype system and everything.
I do remember that one.
And I don't know if you still keep up with Vanguard, but with Overdress coming out,
Yes.
that system is changing all over again.
It was very weird. That was the because I just learned about Overdress 3 days ago or so, and so I looked into the new mechanics and the new rules about the ride deck and the nations instead of their
Clans.
instead of their factions that they had, which sucks for me because I like to play Spike Brothers, and now it's all just kind of bundled in together, which isn't the worst thing in the world. But hey, I guess to clarify, I have played Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Vanguard, Dragon Ball.
Oh my goodness.
What's the name? Chaotix.
Oh.
I'm obsessed with anime and like card games and things, so I'll try a little bit of everything. I have a Digimon deck sitting right over here. But as far as what was the question? I just got into talking about all the card games I've played.
So I actually haven't finished it yet. So it's okay. We already know what Yu-Gi-Oh could learn from Vanguard in terms of the archetype system, the clans and sub-clans and everything. But like as a collective, what do you think these two games could take from each other to, increase their community? Because it ties into my second question, but Vanguard isn't as old as Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's getting there, and it's at that point where it has enough of a fan base to not die after 10 years. So what do you think they could learn from each other?
Yeah, Paul and I actually talking about Konami and other card games just the other day. I guess the first thing is that you gotta really appreciate what Konami did with Yu-Gi-Oh! In a world where the only promised card game or card games was Magic and Pokemon, because those games are gonna last forever, seemingly.
Mm-hmm.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Withstood the test of time. They had a strong IP. Konami Digital Entertainment kept getting cards out there. They constantly upgraded the game. Since we started doing like a structure deck series and playing the old decks, I really appreciate it. It's like, man, they've been just doing this since 2005, really. Just products. It's never stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Vanguard is one of the few games that it was able to create a strong IP. It's maybe not as strong as Yu-Gi-Oh, but Yu-Gi-Oh is a bit older. It was with Shonen Jump, so it's a bit different, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of failed ones, right? Kaijudo, at least in the West, Kaijudo, Chaotix, Battle Spirits. They tried it and it didn't work, but Vanguard did do it. So I think if Vanguard, when seemingly Vanguard did learn this from Yu-Gi-Oh, is to keep the IP relevant. Keep making anime, keep making merchandise, keep trying to bring in those kids. I think Yu-Gi-Oh fell off recently in the last 5 years or so with the anime. We've stopped getting them dubbed, and we get them slower and slower. So we've fallen off in that regard. But so IP management, that's the number one thing, because like how most people kind of get back into Yu-Gi-Oh, it's they just see something or they remember it. It's just a strong memory they have. So keep the IP strong. And as far as on the card game front, now this is where things get interesting, because I think both groups have kind of stumbled and struggled a bit with how to maintain their game. Yu-Gi-Oh has the everything must be played mentality, where if the card was printed in '03, you can still play it now, except for the ban list, of course.
Mhm.
But that's really it. Like, the oldest cards are still playable now, and that's why we have such rampant like power creep now, and why like when we got links, things became broken all of a sudden because we just have these old cards that weren't meant for all this. Vanguard does the whole well, we reboot every few years, and then that alienates your community. And so every time you do it, you're going to lose a few people. Yu-Gi-Oh! Didn't have that problem until we did Master Rule 4, and all of a sudden people are like, wait, I don't want to play with links. I'm not going to play anymore.
Mhm.
They came back because you can't really quit Yu-Gi-Oh! It's not easy. But, so you have to, you got to be careful with moves that will alienate your community, because you have to keep it fresh, right? You can't just stay stagnant. But when you do reboots, you have to be very careful that you just don't scare people off. I remember what was the first reboot for Vanguard? Is that the
V? Yeah,
the
it was V.
Yeah, the V series. I remember I didn't even know about the reboot,
Oh,
but I
no.
wanted to get back into Vanguard. Somebody was selling a lot of Spike Brothers cards, and that was the deck I played. So I bought all of them because they were really cheap, and I was like, "Why? I don't know why they're so cheap. This is awesome." And so I bought all of them, put the deck together. Was looking for people to play, and they were, because I knew of people who played Vanguard,
Mhm.
but that was what it was. Past tense. They dropped it during the reboot because they didn't want to bother with playing in standard, and they didn't want to. They didn't understand why they couldn't use their cards.
Mhm.
So if Vanguard can learn anything from Yu-Gi-Oh, the Yu-Gi-Oh tripped up on that, is be careful when you alienate your community. You really do want to keep people playing for as long as possible, and they don't want to feel like the game has either outgrown them, or it's not the same game anymore, I won't play.
Mhm.
Because I mean, that's the beauty of Yu-Gi-Oh. I still have friends from like high school and middle school that they can dig up a deck, and technically they can still just play that deck. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with it. And last but certainly not least, merchandise.
Mhm.
Yu-Gi-Oh's doing better with merch recently. They've just a more concerted effort in putting out merch, things
Mhm.
we can buy, weird things, gold plated, things in silver. I don't
Yeah.
know why they made them, but hey, I'll take it. Because for a while we just didn't have Yu-Gi-Oh merch, or not much of it. Vanguard did a better job with merch, because it was more of a fresher anime, and they were doing things differently. So if Yu-Gi-Oh could take one thing from Vanguard, I would say to keep the merge game up. We want shirts. We want shirts. We want stuff. We want statues. We don't just want playmats, but Konami needs to do better with playmats. We want merch. I think that's all I got. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. JC, you're up.
Okay. First off, I gotta say, as someone who knows the bare minimum about Vanguard, other than the merch, I think those made a lot of sense. Because definitely Yu-Gi-Oh Konami has such a grip on just the media property of Yu-Gi-Oh. Like how you mentioned, everyone can kind of like see. This is a whole tangent. We probably won't get into it tonight, but the whole Dark Magician and Blue Eyes thing, it makes sense why they keep plastering that on everything, because it is those random people who walk by the card section and see that are the thing that you want to grow constantly, and that's what triggers that response of, oh, I remember this, as opposed to a much newer monster or something. Now the contents, that could definitely be changed up with some more fresher 5D stuff and later on, but again, that's a whole other tangent. But to my next question,
Let's go.
this is more personal for you, but it's still related, of course, to the Team APS channel and Yu-Gi-Oh in general. What did you think you would be doing after college when first enrolling into it, and how has that differed from where you're at now as such a prominent face in the Yu-Gi-Oh YouTube content creator sphere?
Well, it couldn't be any different or more different, because because I graduated high school in 2011, so it's been a long time now, and I thought that I was going to be an officer in the Navy and or a mechanical engineer. I am neither of those things. Yeah, I have neither of those things. I tried and failed. And between then and now, I thought I was going to be a lot of things in college because I thought that in college your major was supposed to be the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
But when I graduated college the first time, I thought I was going to go into airport management, and because I had a thing for aviation, always have, but I'm terrified of heights, so I want to be involved, but I want to stay on the ground. So airport management. I even got a job at an airport. It was okay. It was okay. You wouldn't think an airport would be that as much trouble as it is, but it is. And but then I went back to school because I told myself I wanted to get a second degree to help my aviation career, but I realized it was probably because I wasn't liking it and I just wanted a distraction. So I went back to school to get my master's and in business. Mm-hmm. And by the time I'd finished, I was like, "Yep, gonna be a YouTuber." The whole time, I was in school, we were doing YouTube, and the channel was growing, and things were happening. It was funny and a disappointment to my parents that by I get this master's degree, and I say, "Yep, YouTube seems pretty good."
At least you're doing something you enjoy. Because I've met tons of people who just like end up as like it's a thing back in the Philippines where if you don't like your job, like most of the time you just end up as a call center agent. But yeah, at least you found something that you really wanted to do. And how? No, I'm not gonna ask that. Never mind. What is Nova's second question?
I just want to say real
behind
quick,
closed doors.
I do just have one not follow-up question, but just a follow-up response, I guess, to that was it's funny you mentioned that like it was growing while you were in college and everything, and it ended up like kind of being like YouTube after the fact, after you were graduated, because just looking at like the timeline of the channel and like your social medias, it was kind of like it lined up, and I was like, oh, this is actually very interesting that in college it was like when you were finding yourself, but also when the channel was like finding itself in a way, so it's very interesting that it happened at that time in your life as well, like how it coordinated.
But also aviation is a very easy major, and I had a lot of time to work on videos.
Your channel graduated college with you.
Pretty much. So I don't think things didn't really take off to like the point where I was like, oh, this is a real thing I can do. It was my first year in my master's program, and we won a chance to go to YouTube Next up in New York City.
Oh, nice.
And they flew us out to New York, and I was like, wait a minute, I just got flown out to New York. And I was like, wait a minute, like no one else, like I could work at that airport and maybe get some air miles to use, but they were never gonna like pay for my like flight and room.
Yeah.
Will other people do this? Like, but then it happened a few more times with like different companies, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun.
Who could say no to that? That's crazy. Oh man.
And then if only past Alec could see you with the whole Berlin experience with the Worlds.
There's so much in Berlin, so much I can't say on camera.
Oh man, I'd love to go there. I'd love to go anywhere for an event because I've never been to one yet.
Well, that was the first time Konami ever flew YouTubers out to a Worlds, and sadly, the pandemic crushed our hopes and dreams of the repeat.
Yeah. But
I guess presumably, I think they're gonna do it again. Possibly open it up, maybe not. Who knows? I hope I can go because there's no guarantees. People think that I can call up Mr. Konami right now on my phone. But, I don't know. I hope so, but I don't know if I'll be able to go. And I'd love to go to Japan. I'd love to go back to Europe. I don't want to go to Minnesota, so I'm kind of happy they got canceled.
This is just like a really quick shot question since we're talking about traveling. But if you had to choose two other members from the team to take with you anywhere for an event, who would be the two people you ask first?
Dangerous question. It's a dangerous question. Well, one, my brother.
Okay.
That's a safe one. That's a safe one. And I guess I'm obligated to say Paul here. I mean, he's the guy, right? I mean, he's numero uno, the head honcho. It would be disrespectful to say anybody else.
If Paul said he couldn't, if he couldn't go for some reason.
Oh man.
Or like, what would each member bring to the table if they went with you?
Well, Trail has boundless energy and can he can fit in literally any room, anywhere. Larry is, as big as he is, has this like childlike wonder and approach to the world where he's just always fun. He's always ready to have fun. He'll get into whatever. Calvin is, he's like, I don't know, he's like he has a strange energy where when he's in, he's in. And so he's great for videos because no one will be more motivated to shoot a video than he will be. But then when he's not, and that's just how it is. Mm-hmm. I don't think anyone's cooler than Chris. Chris is probably just the coolest. But yeah, and Paul's reliable. Mm-hmm. If I end up, because Paul and I have taken a few trips where things have went wrong and he held it down, so
that's good.
It's hard to pass up on Paul. And Alex is my twin. Like he's my brother. It's hard not to pick him for like any situation. Well, except I need a wingman. He's terrible. Don't tell him I said. Oh,
I'll bleep it out. Don't worry. I'll bleep it out in the replay. All right. And I guess I'll ask Nova's question. I can check it on my phone before it dies. So
okay.
So Nova's second question is: do you have any tips or advice for people who want to start making skits, or any common pitfalls that you see people running into, and how they can be avoided?
Oh yeah, don't be afraid. Well, one, don't be afraid to wing it if that's your thing. We've winged a few skits. It went wrong most of the time. But that's also because that's not really the type of guys we are. We've done it before, but it's gone wrong most of the time. But don't be afraid of scripts. I've met many people. They get, because I've collabed with people. They'll see one of my scripts and get intimidated, or they'll think about writing one and they're scared. But it's like, you don't have to start writing an Avengers Endgame at the start. You can just start with an outline. You can just start with something simple. Because what's more important than your script is what's in your head, because you're the one doing it. You don't have, but just break out a pencil. Well, no one writes anymore. Get to your computer and start putting words on paper. I started on Amazon. What Story Writer is what it was called, but then that went away. Now I use Writer Duet. It was free, then I started paying for it because I like to have extra features. But there's a lot of like script writing software that does most of the work for you. Because I don't know how to format a script. I just like to press tab and enter and things happen.
Yeah. I gotta try that sometime. I've wanted to do a couple of skits now, but yeah, I was waiting to hear your words of wisdom before I tried anything.
Yeah, and sometimes you just gotta go out and make a mistake.
Yeah. I've made a lot of those. Anyway, so my last question is, again, addressing both Yu-Gi-Oh! and Vanguard. How much longer will nostalgia be able to sell before people get completely sick of it? Because I know that, like, when the 2020 tin was revealed, people were like, "Oh my God, it's another Duel Monsters moment." And then when the 2021 tin was revealed, it's like, "Oh my God, here we go. There's another year of this," because they're doing it in 3 parts. But yeah, what do you think? Because it happens a lot in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's starting to happen in Vanguard too. Because you have like Blaster Blade over and over and over again. Then you have Dragonic Overlord, the clan now. So...
I've always hated them. That's just me. But as far as nostalgia and Yu-Gi-Oh! And everything else, it'll stop when Hollywood stops it. Because Hollywood realized that you can just keep rebooting things and doing sequels or spiritual successors to things pretty much ad nauseum because people never get tired of it. Now, core Yu-Gi-Oh players, the guys who sit at the table or guys and girls, don't alienate anybody, or otherwise. Oh man, there's too many groups. Everybody that plays Yu-Gi-Oh, you sit at the table. We do this day in, day out, week in, week out. We will get tired of nostalgia because we're looking for new and more interesting things to come into the game. But it's always important to remember, Yu-Gi-Oh the brand of Yu-Gi-Oh is still not as popular as it was when it launched way back when. Mm-hmm. Which means all those people who were interested as kids and have kind of fallen off as adults, that's who's Konami, that's who they're targeting. And until Konami has exhausted all those people, nostalgia will continue. Because every day somebody's seeing a picture of a Blue Eyes White Dragon and saying, "Oh yeah, is Yu-Gi-Oh still a thing?" and then you hear cha-ching, and it reinforces that nostalgia is a good thing.
All right, thank you for that. Those are all the questions that we have. So before we move on to the next part, I just want to shout out the chat a little bit. We have Not a Pancake. Hey guys. Hey, Not a Pancake. It's nice to see you again. We have Epic Fire Gabriel. He's really excited for Ghosts from the Past. He's ready for Shooting Star TGEX. And he said that he really enjoyed the Yu-Gi-Oh horror video. We also have Unfound Prodigy just stopping by. What's up? Nothing much. We're with Alec. We're chilling with him for the hour. Jake Austin said I was a little hard to hear. I turned up my audio a little bit while JC was asking his question, so hopefully that made it a little better. And lastly, we have Terrio Frost in the chat. And we are all doing well. These two have their vaccine already. I'm still waiting to be able to afford mine because I spent it all on shiny cardboard, but that's besides the point. Eradicators for the win. Yeah. So I'm actually holding a very small Cardfight Vanguard tournament for Yu-Gi-Oh players who are interested in the game, and Terrio Frost is one of those players. But I won't get too into that. We want to get into the Yu-Gi-Oh, because that's what this whole podcast is about. So, Ghosts from the Past. I've been kind of vocal about not being too excited for it outside of the BLS Link reprint, and even that's kind of hard to get excited about just because of how scarce it's going to be. But what do you think about it? Coming so close.
There's not much to think about Ghosts from the Past. I don't think it's really a set that's marketed towards me. There's no new Ancient Gear monster in there, so clearly...
You have an Ultra Rare Gear Town now.
Wait, it's in there? What?
Yeah, it's reprinted as an Ultra.
I'm actually very excited for this set. Konami's just making the right decisions at the right time. Really like feeding the people. No, but yeah, Ghosts from the Past isn't even. I don't think it's as bad as what everyone says it is. Mm-hmm. It's bad because we had to go an entire month without any products, and this is our first set back, and like we want something exciting, Like I'm tired of seeing Dogmatica. I'm tired of seeing Eldritch. Though I like Eldritch, I'm tired of seeing them. Give me something that's gonna shake it up. This did not do it. If it reprints a card that you like, cool. But we get reprint sets all the time. We're hoping this would be more special. You can make a Ghost Blue Eyes alternative. That'll satisfy some people. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. It's a disappointing set because it means the rest of us have to wait even longer. We just have to wait until next main set, I guess. Mm-hmm. Which is what? Lightning Overdrive?
Yeah, Lightning Overdrive.
Yes. New Plunder Patrol card. Yeah.
What about you, JC? What do you think of Ghosts from the Past?
So I don't know how scientifically accurate this is. I probably heard this in like elementary or middle school, but if you're ever severely dehydrated out in the desert or something, you're supposed to slowly drink water like trickling like a small amount, because like your body will go into shock or something if you just like start guzzling water, you know. So I think that's what Konami's trying to do here. We're starting off with like a fizzle before we go into like the explosions, with hopefully a lightning overdrive will bring.
Your teacher's never done Mardi Gras in the hot sun. You guzzle that water down.
I was honestly wondering where the Connect was going to go. Like, we're in the desert. Are we supposed to start seeing mirages or something?
I've felt like I've been in a desert, being in Florida and waiting on Yu-Gi-Oh product to drop. It's been a blessing to my finances for sure, but in terms of my mental satisfaction, it's definitely been terrible with the whole month off, because it's like what October 2020 was the same thing with things getting pushed back, I believe due to production and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but yeah, exactly, and I do want to say that the reprints for me personally are what I'm interested in. Just how Alec mentioned, if it's for you, it's kind of for you. If it's not, then this set doesn't seem too evergreen almost in a way. It's kind of just like here in the moment. If you like the ghost rares, I guess, then in the future people might want to buy it. But I don't know. There's no impactful new cards, as again Alec touched upon. But for me, the reprints are pretty good. There's some Cosmo reprints that have been duly needed for a while. CosmoJoe and Tin Can.
I got my originals. Nobody needs any Cosmos. I got mine.
I do have my tin cans. Sadly, they're ultra rare in the original, and they're ultra rare here. But at least I never had to pick up the more expensive CosmoJoes, so I'm okay with them being ultras. But yeah, it's definitely a set I'm going to go singles on, I guess, is the main thing. And even then, very few singles. But I think it isn't bad. But it definitely isn't going to shake many things up, except for maybe the collector's market again, because of the whole ghost rares being more prevalent in this set. And at least I will say, this being an all ultra rare set makes me feel better, since they've been starting to do the side sets or the deck build packs as like the rares, and then supers and ultras and collector's rares. I like those all shiny archetypes, because like if Nephis were printed in like a main set, you know, they would have been like commons and supers, and maybe their boss monsters like
at the bottom of someone's box.
Yeah, exactly. But at least they're all shiny because they came out in a set that had that rarity distribution. So I'm glad whenever I see those sets that do have the higher rarity. This in case being ultra. But
Shout
enough
out
about
to
me rambling about shiny.
Making that a thing.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very cool. And then oh boy, now I'm thinking about Dragoonity and all that good stuff, which comes out in this set, right? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Very, very topical. It all comes full circle eventually there. But Jello, how are you feeling about this though?
So like I said, I'm not too excited for anything. Like, probably of the three archetypes that are in this, I'm looking forward to trying out Starry Nights just because of their design. But really, the only thing that I want out of this set, which is the only reason I'm getting it sealed, is the Soldier of Chaos, which is ridiculously hard to get right now. And
if you pull it on video, it's viewed.
Yeah, hopefully. Because I think it was Rev's cards that pulled one on camera, so I'm hoping I can do that. Although with three archetypes, I'm thinking of maybe just holding it and then trying it for out of the box. But I'll have to do a pitch meeting for that later with JC Nova. But Alec, just in case, Out of the Box is like a sealed only series where I open up boxes, and then there are three of us, and each one of us chooses an archetype to build out of that set, and then we just take what's been opened and then make decks and then play with them. But yeah, now that there are three,
that's a fun idea. That's fun. We tried to do that with what's the name of that set? The one with Ra, whatever the Ra
Ghost
set
of Ra?
was. Yeah, that
Not
one.
Ghost
We
of...
tried that. Not Ghost of Ra, but
sorry, I'm Ghost of
Rage of Ra.
Rage of Ra.
Rage of Ra.
We tried to do that. Couldn't pull, so we had to drop it.
Oh. That would have been a fun set to do it in, though. You would have Raw, Jinzos, and Mech Lords. That'd be fun.
We pulled the Mech Lords, could not pull the rest of the Jinzo or Raw stuff, and we opened up more than we should have.
All right. Now, speaking of 2020 set, we have probably the most looked forward to set this year so far, and that's the 2021 Megatons. Because last year we had such good product, right? Because with not Lightning Overdrive, with Ignition Assault we had Lightning Storm, and then Eternity Code was Access Code Talker, and then every set had like $100 plus card in it.
Just hot cards that were gonna shake things up.
Yeah, and now we're getting them all in a tin. And what do you think? Like, what cards? Because they normally leave like one or two cards out. What do you think they would leave out this time?
See, I don't have the timeline in my head, but if I'm probably what, Zeus. I don't think we'll get Zeus yet, and droplets. I for some reason just don't, because I don't have any droplets. I want droplets. If you have some, I'll take them. I just don't. I don't think we'll be getting droplets or Zeus. I want my Lightning Storm. I want them badly. Mm-hmm. Because I did not do a great job of investing in over the last year. I was just trying to pull things, and I failed.
I know how you feel.
But with Megatons coming out, then I'll be able to pick up the ones I can get, and then maybe I'll scrounge up the pocket money and getting the ones that don't get reprinted.
Yeah,
But one thing I'm upset about is the lack of promos. Mm-hmm. That hurts, because when I went to Germany, they hit us with Nibiru, Dark Ruler No More, and forgot its name.
Dimension Shifter.
Dimension Shifter. Thank you. They showed those off. I thought that was the greatest idea they ever had. 3 cards that saw play almost immediately. Well, not immediately, but very soon after they came out. These cards did things in big decks, mm-hmm. and we're dealing with them today. I hate you, Nibiru. But and so not seeing something like that again, it's kind of disappointing. It's like, oh,
is it confirmed that we're not getting any promos again?
Well, I guess they haven't. I guess it's not confirmed. They just haven't announced it, and I hope they give us something, but I think they would have said something by now if they were.
That's true. What about you, JC? How are you feeling on Megatons this year?
So the promos thing is like such a conundrum to think about, almost, or I guess, of course, until it's confirmed whether or not we're going to get them, because whenever I think of something that I don't really like that a decision Konami makes, I always really try to remember they're a business first and foremost, and they sold probably the same, if not more, 2020 Megatons than they did when they had promos in 2019. So like if it's still selling, they probably won't add promos back, even if it's as simple as saving the cost of the plastic that the promos come in, right? And then on top of that, with putting Dragoon, which probably would have been a promo in theory, just based off of like how it was like a special thing added in, since it wasn't a promo, that made people want to buy the product more sealed and everything. So I kind of am leaning towards them probably not doing promos again. Maybe I even like how they've been going the route of with like sneak peeks. They've been doing those field centers with like the sneak peek with the main set thing on it. If it's something interesting, or with the legendary duelists like seasons, how they have like the random, either it's dice, or if it's I think in season 1 it was the cards that like turn into a puzzle in the back, and it was like a 3x3 for a binder and everything. So I don't know. The point is, I think they could do things. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, those dice. But if they could do something to go with the tin, that'd be nice. I think a cool question to ask you guys, though, because other than that, I kind of just like, I'm gonna buy the Megatons. It's like an amalgamation of that past year, and it's always such good value. I'm gonna buy it sealed just because I like the tins themselves, and also, of course, I'll buy singles with what I don't pull. But a question for all of you is, historically, they've been adding one of the side sets in addition to the main sets to this. What do you think the side set's going to be this year? Because last year I did call it that it was going to be Infinity Chasers, and it was. Granted, I know that wasn't as big brain. It like kind of made sense, but I will go on record on the podcast. I did call it. So what do you think is going to be in this year's Megatins? I've heard people say that it's probably going to be Secret Slayers, and I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be. But do you think they would pick anything else kind of random, or do you think it's probably going to be Secret Slayers if they are going to include a side set again like they have the past 2 years?
What came out of Secret Slayers? I'm trying to remember.
Adamanticators, Eldritch, and Rikas.
Yeah, that's the one. Yep, that's the one. I don't think it is.
I'm going to say that as well, just because right until you said it, I completely forgot that it was a set. I just got annoyed that everything was so expensive. But yeah, I think that's probably what it's going to be. If not, because if you look at the other 2 side sets that we had during the year, it was Toon Chaos, which people didn't really like, and like right at the end of the year, it was Genesis Impact, and that's kind of too close for it to be included in there. So yeah, looks like it's going to be Secret Slayers.
And Eldritch reprints, people have been looking forward to them. Adamants. I mean, and when I really think about it, we didn't get to play Secret Slayers.
Yeah.
It took many months before I was actually able to use my Eldritch cards, and I actually never saw an Adamantipator deck in real life. It just didn't happen. Mm-hmm. By the time I saw Adamanticipators, the ban list came and went.
Yeah. Block Dragon is so sad. Oh man. In the chat though, Fat Guy Yu-Gi-Oh says the set with Prank Kids. I think is that Hidden Summoners?
Hidden Summoners?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that a 2019 set? 2020 set, I mean? Sorry.
I think it was 2019. I think, right? Because
it should be, yeah, because I played against Prank Kids. I want to say that was 2019.
Because it was Prank Kids, Nephis, and something else. Because it was like Prank Kids were Link and Fusion, Nephis were Link and Ritual, and then
it was Mayakashi's.
Mayakashi, yes, Link and Synchros.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely before 2020.
Yeah. So, but another contender, I think, which this is the name I don't remember, is the one with Dragon Maids and Generators.
Mystic Fighters.
Potentially. Mystic Fighters. Yeah. That one also is a contender, probably. I don't know timeline-wise, but it just feels like they would choose that potentially, because I think
that one's also too old, because they gave us Mystic Fighters packs after Worlds, and that was... Well, maybe it did, actually, because they gave it to us early, and that was near the tail end of 2019. So maybe it was. I don't remember.
Right. I'm just thinking, because when you mentioned the Eldritch cards, how all their supers are expensive now because they haven't gotten a reprint, and that made Dragon Maids popped into my head, so that's why I brought those up. But no matter, they will probably all be very high rarity slots, despite already being printed in high rarity. That'll take up all the other slots.
They got reprinted in Maximum Gold, right? Like almost all of them.
The Dragon Maids themselves, but Hospitality, I believe, is at the last I checked, which is a while ago, is like a very expensive super. I don't remember the price, but expensive.
I am looking forward to pulling like all the Rikas in the Megatins. I wasn't looking forward to them, but I know that's what I'm gonna get.
It'll go next to the 3 Evil Eye cores I got from my last year,
and the Infinite Tracks.
Yep.
So, Fat Guy Yu-Gi-Oh says it was 2018, but hasn't been reprinted. I feel like if we're gonna get them reprinted, if they're that old, we might get it in like a Battle of Legends set, probably, if we get one. But anyway, we are running out of time. I don't want to go too overboard. So, JC, do you have that list of the audience question list that we have?
I do. I don't have it pulled up, so I will pull that up real quick. Though, let me.
Okay. So, Alec, this is our attempt at having audience interaction, because we're all pretty bad with keeping up with the chat. Most of a lot a lot of the time it's a lot more active than this. But we have a list of questions that the audience sends us, and we, just answer them really quickly at the end of the show.
Okay, cool. That's
So
cool.
I have the questions here. I'm trying to filter through just because the time with Alec is so precious to me, with him being such a figure on the Mount Rushmore of Yu-Gi-Oh, which is just Team APS all up there. But
All the space.
I am going to kind of skip around to see one that I feel like, use our time wisely. As I sit here rambling about, I'm picking a question. But so I think this one is interesting. It's very open-ended, and I don't know if we'd be able to come to a conclusion with this, but I feel like you might have a pretty layered answer for this, Alec.
Let's go. Let's see.
How could Yu-Gi-Oh end? I know this is a very, again, open-ended question. I think I'm afraid I'm gonna ask for Captain Blitz here, but I personally would like to know how you think the card game would end in terms of whether it be 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I don't know how they could mess up as big as to end next year, but how do you think, what would be the downfall of them?
I think Yu-Gi-Oh does have a time limit on it, and I think that time limit is us, our generation. We carried Yu-Gi-Oh from kids all the way into adults, because unlike any other card game has ever seen, when our generation turned 18, Yu-Gi-Oh events grew, because now we could move around. The first thing we wanted to do when we could move around was go to Yu-Gi-Oh events. So, we're going to reach our 60s and 70s, and I know there will be people who still try to go on events, but a lot of us, we just won't be able to anymore. We'll do our best to pass it on to the youth, but that's going to be on Konami to really try and reach kids. I don't see as many new young faces, 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds. I don't see that too much when I go to Yu-Gi-Oh events and when I visit locals. So as long as we're alive, I think Yu-Gi-Oh's alive. Once we go, who knows? It's gonna be tough. But outside of that, I just don't think Yu-Gi-Oh's going anywhere. It's I wouldn't say it's too big to fail, but it kind of is. Mm-hmm. I thought that Yu-Gi-Oh needed its anime to succeed, but we can. I didn't actually see a lot of reigns, and I think most people didn't, and we're doing okay. We're doing okay. Mm-hmm. I thought we needed anime cards to fill booster packs. Well, we've had a few sets now with no anime cards, or no current anime cards, and we're doing just fine. So, I just don't see Yu-Gi-Oh ending until I physically cannot go to events anymore. And maybe that's when they make rush duels. Maybe that's when they'll finally put it out here.
Yeah, that's when the speed duelers will rise up and take over the format.
All right. Are we all answering this, or is this just for Alec?
I think we could all answer this. I feel like we all bring a different perspective to the table with this. So, Jello, okay. You're up now that you didn't know that you had to answer this.
Okay. I think Alec had a really good point of having a time limit because of our generation. I think I've seen on Team APS's channel, I think Paul talked about it once, but the barrier for entry, at least for competitive entry, is really high. Both mentally and financially, because if you wanna compete, you need to have these staples, or you're gonna get negated your first turn, and you're not gonna have a way back in. But as just as an IP, I appreciate the change of pace that Konami did with sevens, because I remember when it was first announced, a lot of the people on Facebook were like, "Oh, this looks like it's for kids. This looks like it's for kids," and we tend to forget sometimes that it is a children's card game, so they have to market it for these kids. So I think if this iteration of Yu-Gi-Oh dies, like it'll be with the old guard. It'll be passing the torch on to the newer format. So I don't think it'll die as an IP entirely, but I think the Yu-Gi-Oh as we know it will end, like Alex said, when our generation has arthritis and dementia and stuff and can't remember our card effects anymore.
Sadly is
We
now
don't read cards anyway.
Yeah. It's already happening. I can't remember what my cards do.
Oh, no. What about you, JC?
So I actually not a true fear. This is just hyperbole, but a big fear of mine is the day Yu-Gi-Oh does end, and because of that, every chance I get, unless it's a very expensive deck such as Eldlik or Dragon Maids, before the reprints, of course, I just buy my singles based on just getting deck cores.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea of one day when Yu-Gi-Oh is ended. I love the idea, but I'm afraid of it at the same time, that I'm going to have all these deck cores lying around to where it's almost like a board game. Like I can bring out my dusty old 15 BCW boxes and just show like my kids and like, I don't know, my friends and whoever, this old card game that like I spent all my mind power on in my youth when I could still learn things. So that's my thing, is I want to carry it at least in my own bubble one day when I'm old and I have all these deck cores lying around. I do think it is on a clock. I don't think it's going to be gone anytime soon. I think you both bring good points to the ultimate realization that since it is such a large property, it's not like Yu-Gi-Oh! The name Yu-Gi-Oh!, the essence around Yu-Gi-Oh! Will ever truly die, as long as, I guess, Konami's in the media space, since it is so big and it has all this weight. But I think what we know of Yu-Gi-Oh! Could potentially die one day. The issue with, of course, with the pandemic, with like Magic the Gathering, they were having talks about, oh, is paper Magic dead, because like they were focused more on like Arena and like Magic the Gathering online and stuff. And I do think it's a natural progression that one day it might go to Duel Links or other services that are online, which makes sense economically, ecologically, if that's the right term, because less paper being used and stuff. So I don't know how Yu-Gi-Oh is going to end exactly, but I do agree that this isn't my own thought. I just, from you saying it makes a lot of sense, both of you, that it will kind of die out with us, because it is a big thing from what Team APS has called on in past videos about the barrier to entry and stuff like that. It is so big that's why they push so much nostalgia bait at us, because they just want to keep getting the people who, when they were young and they were already caught, to get them back. And I believe we lost Jello's camera there.
Yeah.
But do we still have audio?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
I just want to put this out there before Pro Player Games gets to it. I'm going to start a geriatric league at the home.
I can't wait. Tell me which home it'll be at. We'll have
yeah, they already pushed.
We'll have a YCS memorial.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And everything,
They already pushed the card games like in clubs and schools and stuff, which are great, but they're missing the mark. They got to go the opposite age spectrum to really grab all audiences. But I think with the time we have and stuff, I think that was a very good question to end the podcast on, was the end of Yu-Gi-Oh! I didn't know we'd get this deep tonight, but here we are now.
All right.
Ooh, card games and wheelchairs.
High-speed wheelchairs. It'll be amazing.
Yu-Gi-Oh! 80s.
Oh, God. Oh, why did that work so well? Anyway, everyone, that is all the time that we have for this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe to all of our channels. All of the links to all of that will be down in the description. If you want to send us stories that you have from your locals or questions that you want us to answer on the show, hit up the email that is in the description of this, and we will get to it as soon as we can. But for now, I am Jello, the Casual Card Gamer. This was JC Theater YGO and Alec from Team APS.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, do you guys have anything you want to say before I pull the plug on this stream?
I hate to cut ahead of Alec, but I want him to be the final word. So I'm just going to get it out of the way. Not to get too sentimental here, sentimental here.
Sentimental
But
is rock.
not to get too rock and roll in here. I first started watching YugiTube fresh out of high school because Yu-Gi-Oh is just something when you get your autonomy, as you mentioned, it's when it really grabs hold of you. You want to go to tournaments and all that. But that's when I first started getting into YugiTube. Condensed version. I watched trade binder videos because that's all I knew. I didn't know YugiTube existed. I thought that's what it was. I stumbled onto Team Underground's channel, like Team Underground Yu-Gi-Oh, and then they shared on their Facebook page the second ever YugiTube channel I ever would come to watch and still watch, and that is, of course, Team APS. So this is like a childhood dream, fever dream almost, just like it's very surreal. I understand in the YugiTube sphere and stuff, it's not like you're a major celebrity where you have to like hide your face. I mean, we know your name is Alec, right? Like you're a real human being, but in the niche space that you're a part of, you are a giant celebrity. I think I can speak for both of us, for me and Jello. So this was an honor for you to be on, and I really appreciate it. So that's my final words. Just thanking Alec.
Hey man, I had a lot of fun. Thank you guys for having me. I don't know. It was great to sit down and just talk about Yu-Gi-Oh with cool guys. It makes me miss regularly attending like events and locals, just so you can connect with like real players. Because everyone's just a screen name right now, and that's it's not really doing it for me.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I know that JC said that he wanted you to be the last one, but I also have to say thank you so much for replying to my DM that I honestly forgot that I sent, or at least tried to forget that I sent, because you do these things like completely out of your comfort zone, and you're like, I shouldn't have done that. And then it leads to stuff like this. So thank you so much, Alec, for being on, and of course thank you everybody for watching at home. You are now in the Yu-Gi-Know.
In the Yu-Gi-Know. We gotta all say it.
Yeah.
I did not know.
Okay, sorry. Okay, 3, 2, 1. In the Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, we try our best to sync it up, but with video calls and everything, it's just impossible.
Not gonna work.
But anyway, that is it.
Pass turn.